Voices drift on winds untamed, words like spells that can't be named. Close your eyes and feel the sound. Journey where no bounds are found. Open doors inside your mind. Leave the ordinary far behind. Colors swirl and stars align. In the meta mysteries you'll find.
Welcome to Meta Mysteries, where you don't know what you don't know. My name's Jonathan.
I'm Sean.
And tonight is Wonder Wiz Day. Welcome in the one out there. Very nice to see y'all. This is, I'm not going to lie, it's actually my favorite night of the week.
Oh, dude, I love it. And it's good to see some new faces as well, dude. It's going to be a good show.
Yeah, and I love the cult live shows as well. They get a little crazy over there, but y'all know, like, this is the shit I love talking about right here. This is like, I don't know. There's just something about it that just tickles the undercarriage. You know?
The undercarriage, dude. And to be honest, man, there's really no other place like it as far as, being able to just speak freely. This is something that I've really been experiencing as of late. Everything that I think of is like, oh, that's wrong. How dare you even think those thoughts, especially when there's a book of answers right here.
How dare you?
Well, yeah, it's blasphemy.
Yeah, it's always blasphemous. I actually was thinking about, I think that it'd be a really cool shirt that says, I'm about to get blasphemous, or today is the blasphemy side is about to come out, or something like that, because sometimes you just gotta let it rip, dude. You
gotta ruffle some feathers sometimes,
You do gotta do that.
It gets the people going.
Yeah, so welcome in, everybody. Britt said, hey, guys. Good to see you, Britt. Taylor said, hey, weirdos. I love Wednesday nights and look forward to these shows. Welcome in, Ashton. Ashton was on the Cult Member Live show. Fucking double dipping my dog.
Oh, shit.
Kyle,
love that.
Kyle, it's been a minute, bro. Where you been? I mean, I'm so used to seeing your camera zoom in and out and throwing me all off and everything. But
right.
And Two Toes 211, my guy wearing the Steelers hat. Yeah. I think this is our year. But I'm gonna be real with you. I think it's our year. Namaste, the one. Hell yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, tonight we actually have something that I typically for these shows, I like to just let it come to me. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever, maybe I'll wake up in the morning and just maybe a curious thought will be sparked. And I'm like, how does it tie into everything else that we've been talking about here over the past couple of months, especially with, really the past few months, I feel like we've just been on fire over here, right?
We're riding the wave, dude. It's just that flow state. So.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty awesome. So I thought, you know what, dude, I think tonight might be a good time to talk about the Aether a little bit.
All right, dude, I'm ready, man.
Yeah. And I feel like it's something that, either people don't know that it exists or maybe they don't believe that it exists, but there has to be some kind of medium for everything to be carried in, right? And
things to propagate, right?
Exactly. Like, how is it that, if I think about you, Sean, and
I like when you do it.
and like you text me or you call me, and that's that's just an example. It happens with a lot of people, but like how did that thought traverse time and space so fast? It had to have a medium to fly through or whatever.
Yeah, you would think
something.
Yeah, and then the ether used to be a thing, and then they took it out, because of, I believe, Einstein's relativity and all this, and they kind of pulled it out. And so, I don't know, man. I feel like there's definitely some type of medium that these things are traveling through, for sure.
I think so. I think there has to be. So actually, we're not only talking about the ether, we're also going to be talking about time as well. And it's a hard notion to accept that time is not linear, because you're like, well, I worked yesterday. I got paid for yesterday. My kids ate chicken nuggies and they spilled honey mustard on my couch. There's a stain to prove it. It happened yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And then tomorrow it's like, hey, we're going on vacation tomorrow. Is that happening right now? Or do I actually have to wait? And so people get a little cocky with it, and that's okay. It's understandable, because sometimes you have to, sometimes people just look at woo-woo and they're like, oh, it's fun. It's a fun thought. But is it really? And that's what we're going to be diving into today.
Oh, dude, that sounds awesome, dude. And when it comes to time, yeah, sure, in the logical sense, there's a time and place to look at it that way, as far as like, oh, tomorrow at this time, this place, whatever. But we're not trying to be logical here. You know what I'm saying? And we've all experienced time, time dilation, where time all of a sudden is going faster or slower, or when you're in a meditation and time doesn't really exist at all, and so it's really not that crazy to think.
That's what I'm saying. And we're not trying to say that we're trying to be illogical by any means, but a lot like the Gateway tapes, we're trying to sync the logical and the illogical mind together. So, or I don't want to call it the illogical mind, the dream mind, the imagine, the part of your mind that imagines and feels and is creative, and that whole side, the right brain. We're trying to fuse the right brain and the left brain, and that's why typically what we like to do is we like to fuse all of the religious thought. We like to fuse all the philosophical thought, and then we'll bring it all around together for everybody to get down with some scientific thought. And that's what we're going to be trying to do today. So
take us there, dude.
All right, Sean. What if I told you that your future isn't ahead of you? It's right here. And your past isn't behind you. It's here too. What if every choice you could make, every life you could live is happening right now in one eternal moment? And what if reality itself is alive?
That's kind of a scary thought. If everything is happening all at once, it gets me to think, well, has everything already happened, and our mind is just traveling through that space,
I think that is just something that, it requires more than just a couple of sentences of an answer, to be honest with you.
Oh, I imagine.
That's a deep thought. But yeah, I mean, is reality itself alive? Listening, waiting for you to talk back. So yeah, today we're going to take a step out of the clock and stop looking at it for its actual linear, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, and we're just going to put it all in a different perspective. Okay. And we're going to look up to the cosmos, up to the stars, up to the oh, Ashton said something. I know Jonathan does past life regression, but has anyone heard of concurrent lives? I try to stay out of that, to be honest with you. Wait, concurrent
what is
as
that?
in, is it, you're talking about like parallel lives, or
Multiple
are you talking
lives?
about like the life that you're living right now? Because I've done past life regressions, and sometimes they be this life, shout out to the white boy wizard. I don't know where the hell he's at tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, he ended up, whenever I tried to give him a past life regression, he ended up visiting this life. And those are sketchy waters, but you got to work your way through it. You got to, go all around the swamp stumps and the snakes and all that stuff. But eventually, you get there. It was actually really good though.
Yeah, you don't want to take somebody that's in their current life through the death process. That's kind of tricky to maneuver, if you will.
Oh yeah, I take them to the nap process. Is what I like to do.
Right.
So yeah, anyhow, getting back to it, we're going to dismantle everything that you've been taught about time, explore the ancient and modern science of the ether, and discover how your prayers, spells, and intentions don't just reach some distant god. They reconfigure the very frame of reality that you're standing in.
Holy shit.
And by the end of this episode, you won't just understand this, you'll know how to work with it. Okay?
That's what I'm talking about, dude. That's what I'm talking about.
We like to put it into, realistic terms to where everybody can test it out for themselves.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to actually get something out of the information, because you can learn a bunch of interesting information, but if you can't really do anything with it, then, you know what I mean? What are we doing?
What are we doing? So the first part that we're going to get to is we're going to start at the beginning, and that is the illusion of time itself. So
right.
Time isn't what you think it is. Let's break the clock. We've been taught that time is a straight line. You're born, you live, you die. Past, present, future. But mystics, philosophers, and physicists have been trying to tell us for centuries that this is not how reality actually works. Even Albert Einstein wrote, in quotes, "The distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion." What the
So
fuck?
it's a perception, dude, really.
Yeah, so let that sink in. The greatest scientific mind of the 20th century is telling you that your sense of time is a trick. Even modern physics offers a model called the block universe. Have you ever heard of the block universe?
I have not.
It's kind of new to me, but so imagine a loaf of bread. We're just going to describe the block universe like this. Imagine a loaf of bread. Every slice is a moment. Your birth, today, your death, even future possibilities. To you, it feels like you're walking slice by slice. But in truth, the whole loaf already exists. You're just experiencing it one thin piece at a time.
Holy shit, dude.
So that's one way.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird way to look at it, though. You know, if everything's already happened already, you know, that's where I go to. Maybe that's not what it is suggesting. You know, maybe it's a whole loaf of what's the word? Probability. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know where that's going.
Well, it's baked in, I think. But it says mystics have echoed this truth for millennia. Jesus said, "Before Abraham was, I am." That wasn't bad grammar, rather. It was a declaration of existence beyond time. Even your boy, the Sufi mystic Rumi, we always got to bring him up.
Yep.
He said, try not to resist life's changes. Instead, let life live through you. How do you know that the side that you are used to is better than the one to come? Basically,
right.
you know, don't always stick with the devil that you know, kind of thing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Dolores Cannon, shout out to old DC, R.I.P.
Shout
baby.
out.
Dolores Cannon, through thousands of past life regressions, discovered that people often reported living multiple lifetimes simultaneously. Time wasn't a line, it was a web. And if you remember, and I feel like we brought it up here before, bro, she hypnotized this one person and basically went back and was speaking to Nostradamus.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Nostradamus with all of his prophecies and stuff like that.
It's a perfect example. Yeah.
And dude, she was speaking to him as he was, because I think he was like a teacher, right? And he was teaching this class, and she goes, "Wait, am I talking to you like from a long time ago?" And he goes, "No, you're talking to me right now. That's how this works. I already figured it all out."
Right.
And he was
Right.
like, "I got it."
I checked the facts. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "That's just how it works. It's weird, but that's just how it is." Yep. And so it was really strange too, because she kept on hypnotizing this one woman, and like over and over and over again, and every single time that she hypnotized her, it was back to a conversation with Nostradamus again. Well, cut to the woman that she was hypnotizing to get to Nostradamus had to move away. Right? So the woman moves away, but the last time that she hypnotized this lady to speak to Nostradamus tells her, "Oh, don't worry. The next person you hypnotize, I'll come through there again too, so don't even trip." And she was like, "How does that work?" Because these people aren't talking to each other. Most of the people that I've hypnotized don't know each other. You know what I mean? So yeah, sure as shit, dude. She ends up hypnotizing another person after that, a very new client that she did not relay this information to. And wouldn't you know it, Nostradamus picked up literally where he left off.
And that's strange, because I wonder what means, you know, he was using to do that. Was he meditating? Was he even aware that he was doing it? You know, was it his higher self? Like, how does that work?
It still baffles me. I believe it though, you know?
Yeah.
I do. And you know what I don't appreciate, dude? Everybody, there's so many people that are just so quick to pull the trigger and say that somebody's a fed, or somebody's a liar, or somebody is this and somebody's that. And I'm like, and so now all that stuff is starting to come around. Like, people are saying, "I told you Dolores Cannon was a fed because her husband was in the Army or Navy." I was like,
of course.
What does that have to, you know how many people that are in the military? Like, that has nothing to do with anything.
Well, you know what it is, man. If it doesn't line up with a certain narrative, then, you know, it's got to be some type of fraudulent or some type of evil intent, you know?
That's what I'm saying. So, so anyway, getting back to it, Dolores Cannon, yes, reported people living multiple lifetimes simultaneously. So here's a parable to make it tangible. You know, we're going to get a little Jesus up in here. Make parables. Imagine, this is a great one. Imagine you're walking a forest path. Behind you is the past, ahead of you is the future. But when you climb up but then you climb up a tree, suddenly you see it all. Where you came from, where you're going, and the other trails that you didn't even know existed. That's what it feels like to step out of linear time. You see the whole forest, and the higher your awareness climbs, the more of that forest that you see.
That's great, dude. That's great. Accessing that higher self, man, getting the bigger picture.
Oh, that's what I'm saying too. Like, and anybody who meditates or, you go to a past life regression or something like that, man, those answers come through so damn easy and so clearly. Like, it's not stuttering. It's not, I don't know, it might be this. No, it's like, it knows.
As a matter of fact,
your higher self or whatever it is. Yeah.
Exactly, dude. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, maybe it's your daemon. Maybe it's your genius. Maybe it's your higher self. Maybe they're all the same damn thing.
I don't think it matters what you call it, man. I mean, it's still something that is possible, and we've experienced it, And so, what is that?
It's something, and it's not something that you can just like easily throw out either. There's something that's really with it. So getting back to what Ashton was saying, as far as the concurrent lives, says, it's even trippier than past lives because it's not linear, that one person can have multiple lifetimes at the same time. Which would make sense if life isn't linear.
If we're all the one, right?
Right, right.
Right.
Then Taylor said, like, each of our quote-unquote past lives aren't being lived in a linear sense. However, in each individual life, to be human and have the human experience, we have to accept time as linear since our meat suits decompose, essentially. That's true. I always relate this to the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. That was a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Something happened recently. My wife was telling me about a dream that she had. And basically in the dream, she was drowning. And in that moment where it seemed as if she completely drowned, her consciousness just shifted, or at least her perspective of the dream shifted to someone that was on the boat looking down at her drowning, and she can see herself under the water. And so in her dream, it just seemed like effortless or nothing that she even had to think about that, was possible, that she could just be someone else in the dream. Like, I don't know.
I mean, look, if you're everything and everything's you, everything is just a reflection of you, just like the whole pantheist idea. Dude, I've really been vibing with that lately. After I think about that shit all the time and just try and poke holes into it. And even the idea of panentheism, those are the people that are trying to poke holes in pantheism, and I'm like, I don't know. To say that there's something that also exists outside of literally everything that is, I have a hard time with that because, and I'm not just saying that, that pantheism, people think that it's just all of material reality. That's not how I look at it. I don't know if that's the traditional way of looking at it, but I feel like pantheism means like literally everything. It pans around, right? Like, so how could you say that it's not everything if literally that's the idea around pantheism, is that it is everything? I don't know.
Yeah, dude.
But Two Toes 211 said, during one of the meditations on a previous show, I saw a vision of sliced reality. It was like a flip book. Crazy. Dude. Dude, I'm
awesome.
There's certain things that just happen in meditations that there's no explanation. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's
an explanation or no explanation. Like, these are real experiences. And I think it's across the board. I feel like a lot of people are having these types of experiences, not just us, because we're talking about it. Some of these things happen so spontaneously. It was definitely something it's definitely not something you could have planned ahead of time. Like, I'm going to have this type of experience. There was a moment where I had an ultra awareness type of experience where it seemed as though all of the sounds, all of the visuals, everything was just like one thing. And it was very fleeting. It only lasted a few seconds, maybe 5-6 seconds. But it was just like this, maybe that ties in, with this whole time thing not being linear. Maybe I was like tapped into this like wave of time. I don't know what that was, but it was definitely something. And it was spontaneous. I didn't plan it. It just happened.
It's just like, where your consciousness flows to. And, it's strange too, because everybody's, and this is why I've learned to not dismiss anybody's personal experience with anything, do you think I chose to have Sekhmet come and lay in bed with me? Like, I didn't even know who the fuck she was. You know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds crazy. It sounds weird, but it was a shocker to me. Trust me. I'll be the first one to say that. But for somebody to just go, that's demonic. You know that. I'm like, how do you know? Dude. How do you know that? You know, anyway.
It's a good thing they told you. Now you know not to make that arrangement next time.
Now I know to not let Sekhmet come and purr up against me. Yeah, now I know.
Yeah.
So anyhow, we're going to actually do like a little extension upon what we were just talking about as far as time not being what you think it is. Okay. Now we're going to get into the science of nonlinear time and when physics decides to break the clock. So we're going to strip away the mysticism for a moment for all those scientific brains out there. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, sometimes you need a little proof in the pudding. All right. So here is those the lizard eyes that are in the tapioca, if you will.
All right.
So no prayers, no spells, no poetic metaphors. Because here's the thing, you don't need to believe in anything woo-woo to see that time isn't what you think it is. Modern physics has already destroyed the idea that time is linear anyway. So firstly, we're going to get to Einstein a little bit, just to touch on him. Albert Einstein turned our understanding of time upside down with his theories of special and general relativity. In classical physics, time was absolute, the same for everyone, everywhere. But Einstein showed that this is false. Time is relative. It flows differently depending on your speed and gravitational field. This is why astronauts, if you believe in that or not, it's okay. I'm on the fence myself. But anyhow, this is why astronauts in orbit experience time slightly slower than we do on Earth. This isn't hypothetical, it's been measured. In 1971, physicists Joseph Hafele and Richard Keating conducted the famous Hafele-Keating experiment. They put 4 atomic clocks on airplanes and flew them around the world. When compared to synchronized clocks on the ground, the airborne clocks had actually lost time by the exact amount Einstein predicted. This is time dilation. It proves that time isn't a universal tick-tock, it's flexible. Isn't that strange?
So they lost time, which means time was moving slower for them or faster?
Faster, I would think, right?
Yeah, if you're losing time, that's what I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. Addition by subtraction, or the other way around. So then we'll get into a little bit more of the block universe theory as far as past, present, and future all existing at the same time. So relativity doesn't just bend time, it changes what time is. If time flows differently for different observers, then there can't be a single universal now. Physicists call this the block universe or eternalism. Interesting. Think of time as a 4-dimensional block, all moments, past, present, and future, existing simultaneously within that block. You're not moving through time, you're experiencing one slice of an already existing whole. Physicist Brian Greene explains it this way. All moments are equally real. The past, the present, and the future all exist. So when you think of time as a flowing river, physicists say, no, it's a frozen landscape and you're walking through it. Interesting.
That's pretty interesting too, especially like if you imagine something in the future or you try to visualize something, it's so detailed. You know, you can almost feel the feeling of what it would feel like being there. Or if you think of something that happened to you in the past, then you can actually get yourself emotional because you put yourself through that little slice of time, you know, and it's like, what's going on here?
That's it, dude. So then you have time dilation in practice, also known as the twin paradox. This is a fun one. So this isn't just a theory, it's been confirmed in practice. The twin paradox shows that if one twin stays on Earth, while another travels near light speed into space and then returns, the traveling twin will be younger than their sibling. This isn't a thought experiment anymore. High-speed particle experiments at CERN and Fermilab show this happens with subatomic particles every day. The muon decay experiments are the clearest example. Muons normally decay in microseconds, but when accelerated near light speed in particle accelerators, their decay slows down. Time literally stretches for them. So this is proof that time literally runs at different speeds depending on your frame of reference. So that's the twin paradox, which is a pretty interesting one.
So a lot of the things that we get into, it gets you to scratch your head and say to yourself, like, oh, none of this really is what I thought it was, but I like it even more when science tells you that, when this shit doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you don't have to believe in it now,
Right.
and I don't have a problem believing in something, especially like, dude, you come across something that at first it seems unbelievable, but then you put a little bit of like belief, or you start to vibe with it, or you start to flow with it, and you start to work with it. It's like, man, it starts to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what I think. It's like the belief almost powers the whatever it is. Like the belief is the battery. And I was talking
that's what makes things real.
That's what I was saying. I was actually talking to somebody about this the other day, as far as like belief and stuff goes. I think that literally, like, our belief into whatever it is, it could be your belief in tarot cards, it could be your belief in a religion or whatever. I think that our belief is essentially like the battery that charges it, and I think that the religious system, or whatever it is, the spiritual tool or whatever, essentially would be the alternator that keeps the current going. So, right. Because it's already a system that has been used. And so you're essentially taking a tulpa and converting it to an egregore in real time whenever you're using something that's already been, used and
established.
Right.
Yeah. That's great.
So now let's get to quantum mechanics, of course. The observer changes reality. So then quantum mechanics shattered things even farther. The double slit experiment shows that particles exist in a wave of probabilities until observed. Observation collapses them into one definite state. This implies that the quote-unquote future isn't fixed until there's interaction. On a quantum level, time is not a pre-written script. It's a field of potential that only takes form through participation. And it even gets stranger whenever you talk about quantum entanglement. So quantum entanglement shows that particles can influence each other instantaneously across distance, as if they're connected outside of time entirely. This is what Einstein loved to call, he actually hated it because he couldn't explain it.
Didn't understand it.
He liked to call it spooky action at a distance. So
that's pretty interesting, man, if you think about it that way. If you can influence the future just by visualizing it, and because in that sense you're observing it, right? And so if you're observing some preferable future, then in a sense you're at the very least nudging it forward to work in that manner.
Right.
I think you're slightly observing it, and then once it happens, you're fully observing it, and it's collapsing.
There's something to it, dude. And we've talked about it with the what is it called? The random number
generator. I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah, at least by 15%, I think it was.
It was like 15% that if
you're influencing.
Yeah, if you think about a number, let's just say that you do the random number generator 100 times. Right. So, and you do it 100 times for 100 numbers. Let's just go 1 through 100. Right. Ideally, you have a 1% chance of hitting on each number individually. Right.
Yep.
And so you shouldn't have, like, statistically, you shouldn't be able to hit on the same number 10 to 15 times.
Right.
Statistically speaking. But somehow, whenever you put your mind to it and you're like, it's going to be 17. It's going to be 17. It's going to be, and you don't wish that it's going to be 17. You don't hope that it's going to be 17. You don't pray that it's going to be 17. You're like putting it out there that it is going to be 17. And that is what causes the disruption.
I'm going to need you to test this, dude. On a day that you just don't have a whole lot going on, get the number generator and just try it. You know what I mean? Just see what happens.
I think
that'd be interesting. Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to. So then there is reversing time.
Okay.
So the experiments that shocked everyone. So in 2019, researchers at the Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology performed an experiment using a quantum computer that made waves in the scientific community. They were able to manipulate quantum particles in a way that reversed their state, as if turning back the arrow of time. This wasn't time travel in the sci-fi sense, but it showed that on a fundamental level, time's arrow isn't as absolute as we think. It can be manipulated. So to
I wonder
dive
how
in,
that was measurable. What are they measuring as far as understanding that these particles or whatever were going back in time?
well, they probably saw that maybe they start to evolve over time, because what was it saying that the muons earlier, that eventually after a few seconds go, it's almost like they age and evolve.
They decay, right?
Right. They start to have that decay rate. And maybe each one of these atoms or electrons or protons or whatever it is, maybe each one of them has some sort of decay rate attached to them. And you can start to see, like, I don't know, maybe it starts to get brown like a banana or something like
Right.
that. I don't know exactly
Yeah.
how it works, but I'm sure it's something like that. And so to see it, let's just say that, let's just use the banana example for a second. If you're seeing that the banana is starting to get a little bit brown over time, then somehow you go through this whole process, this scientific whatever it is, and then it starts to get a little bit lighter. That's basically what they're saying. So
Right. Yeah, that's interesting.
pretty wild. But speaking on the arrow of time, it is a human illusion. So what about calendars and watches and cause and effect? Physicists like Carlo Rovelli argue that the quote-unquote arrow of time, our experience of time as flowing from past to future, is not fundamental. It's an emergent property of entropy. That's another word for it, right? So it's an emergent property of entropy. So entropy meaning the tendency for disorder to increase. And so it's a property of entropy and human perception. So he wrote a book called The Order of Time, and one of his quotes in it, he goes, "The distinction between past, present, and future is not fundamental. It's a perspectival effect of how we, as information processing systems, interact with the world." So in other words, we experience time as a flow because of how our brains organize memory and experience. But on the level of the universe, it's all there, all at once. It's just how we perceive it. That's how our programming is set to view life in this kind of order, right?
It's interesting. So even time itself is subjective.
Right.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, dude. So cool. So what does this all mean, to just kind of bring it all together a little bit? Einstein proved that time isn't absolute. It bends and stretches. Relativity implies past, present, and future coexist in a single space-time block. Quantum mechanics shows that the future isn't fixed until observed. The muon decay experiments and atomic clocks confirm that that time literally ticks differently depending on speed and gravity. Then you have the reversibility experiments show that the arrow of time isn't as one way as we thought. And then modern physicists like Rovelli and Brian Greene say that the flow of time is a mental construct, not a universal truth. So calendars, clocks, and cause and effect still work, but only as tools for organizing our slice of the block universe. They don't mean time is linear. As physicist John Wheeler once said, time is what prevents everything from happening at once.
All right. That's cool.
Pretty cool. So, but deep down, it all is. So pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
So to bring it all back, this isn't just mysticism, it's also physics. And what the mystics call the eternal now, what the Druids called the breath of the gods, and what Tesla called the field of energy, modern science is beginning to glimpse it too. You're not moving through time like a passenger. You're embedded in a timeless landscape. And the more that you understand that, the more that you can work with it.
And, in the experiences that we've had, I think we are definitely starting to understand that, as far as that feeling that you have in meditation, that timeless, somewhat connected feeling to, I don't know what, it's like, we know that there's potential there. When you're so worried about, something that you did or something that is coming up that you're going to have to face or what have you, it's like you're taking the magic out of it, but if you can find that present state, dude. That's where all of the potential is. That's why they call it the present.
100%, dude. And I feel like everybody says this in regards to time, but it's so true, dude. Like, whenever you're really enjoying something, time seems to go by faster. And whenever you're not enjoying something, time seems to just melt away. Maybe it's more than just perception. Or maybe literally time is just up to the person perceiving it.
Yeah, I think that's more than likely. for sure.
Yeah. So now let's move on over to the ether. We're going to bring it all together here at the end. But so now we're going to get to the ether, the forgotten fifth element. So where does this eternal web of existence actually live? In the ether. The ancient Greeks called it the breath of the gods. Alchemists called it the quintessence, the pure. Quintessence meaning the pure. The fifth element. The pure fifth element that binds all others. It wasn't just empty space, it was the medium of existence itself. So Nikola Tesla believed in it deeply. He said that the day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all previous centuries of its existence. He believed that the ether was a limitless source of energy and information, a living field connecting all things. Modern science calls it the quantum field. Mystics call it the source. You could call it God, the Tao, or the All. But really, it's the infinite ocean of potential where all timelines, all versions of you already exist. So when, think about it like this, when a witch lights a candle for a spell, when a monk chants in meditation, when you visualize your best life, you're not making something happen. You're tuning into the version of the now where it already exists. Isn't that like,
Dude.
if you really think about that on some real shit, you're not going to be walking around in a bad mood all the time because you know it's going to just give you that version of you that already exists. It's just going to keep on pulling it in. It's just the magnetic. Yeah, it's magnetic in that point, right?
Oh yeah, dude, for sure, dude. I love this shit.
I love this shit too. So this is the one of the most mind-shattering realizations is that you're not creating out of nothing. You're selecting from what already is.
Mm-hmm. And so that goes into like thinking the whole multiple life thing, you know, maybe there's many versions of you in various forms of progression or success or failure, you know, and so like tune into that much more successful version of yourself, you know, even if that's not a thing, dude, and you just go living that way, I'm sure it's going to be beneficial.
Oh, dude. You know? Yeah, it absolutely. And there's no way to be able to prove that. But like, I'm telling you, I think that actually has to be a thing. You know, if we look at the universe as infinity that is also growing at the same time.
Yeah.
Which makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. If that's going on, if we're talking about infinity, then that means literally infinite yous and infinite versions of you and infinite versions of your kid and infinite versions of every circumstance that you've ever gone through, either has, is, or was happening. And if it's all now, then it's all happening now, right?
Yeah. It's dude, my daughter was just talking to me about this recently, like randomly out of nowhere, because like she knows I like to get into this kind of stuff, and just randomly she was talking about that as far as there being like other versions of us. And then I was like, well, you know, if space or the universe is infinite, then there almost has to be other versions. And then we were talking about like, well, in another version, you know, you're my dad, and you know what I mean? And I feel like that's probably what's going on, man.
That had to have been Jay Quellen.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know it.
Yeah. Her mind just works different.
Oh yeah.
So to touch up on the double slit experiment just a little bit more as far as science catching up to mysticism. So we're going to get a little nerdy here. So the double slit experiment in quantum physics is one of the most important and strangest discoveries ever made. And here's what happens. When scientists shoot particles like photons through two slits without observing them, they behave like waves, meaning that they exist in a state of infinite potential. But when those same particles are observed, they collapse into particles and choose one path. So think about that. Just by observing them, the outcome changes.
Yep. This is the one thing that we always go back to because it just doesn't make sense, you know, but it's literally happening.
Right,
you know?
Right. So
what world is this?
I mean, there's probably a world in which you have never noticed an 1111. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably that version of you. Or maybe you just never really put two and two together and thought of it as any kind of mystical experience or whatever.
Just coincidence. You know, there's a coincidence version of me out there.
You're that coincidence guy in another reality, right? But think about it like this. Just even the tiniest little notion, oh my God, it's 11:11. I wonder what, You know, it'll get you to open up your awareness a little bit more. Maybe you'll be open to whatever is about to happen next, or maybe it just helps you align with what you're just trying to align, whatever it is, right? I mean, everybody
Even if it's just
works with
making
that
you more
differently.
present in that moment, like you said, you know, just bringing that presence. That's it.
Right, but in that moment, you observed it, and reality changed just a little bit. You know, just a tiny little bit. It
Almost
changed.
certainly.
And there's no way to prove that, obviously. Like, we can't look at all the different pages of the comic book of reality that we exist in.
Right. All the different potentials. Right.
All the different potentials, but so you just go with it. So the outcome changes, and so whenever nobody's watching it, or whenever nobody's watching, reality is fluid. When someone is watching, it solidifies. So mystics have been saying this all along. What you focus on expands. Or, as Neville Goddard put, we need to do a whole fucking episode on this guy, because he is so fascinating. So as Neville Goddard put it, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Which is what they say about prayer anyway.
Right. I mean, if this is happening in the micro and you just assume that it's going to work out for you in the macro, and then you apply that, you know, like, that's all there is to it, dude.
Exactly. So prayers, spells, manifestations, these are not magic tricks. They are forms of observation that collapse the infinite wave of possibility into one chosen frame. So when you pray with unwavering faith or visualize it until it feels real, you are literally collapsing the wave into the version of reality where your desire already exists. See, this is fucking mystery school shit right here. I'm just going to get real with you.
Dude. So listen up.
Listen on up. But hey, dude, we're not the teachers by
What
any
do we
means.
know?
We are the students just reading all this shit together. That's what's so much fun about it, is because it's like we're learning as everybody else is too.
Yeah, dude.
So now we're going to get to magic, prayer, and religion as an etheric technology.
Okay. Anytime you bring technology into it, I know it's getting serious.
Yeah, buddy. So here's where it gets really interesting. Every spiritual practice across cultures and millennia is doing the same thing. Christians pray in faith, believing that they have already received. Pagans cast spells with symbolic intention. Buddhists practice right thought and right action. Sufis whirl around in ecstatic union. They're all using different languages to do the same damn thing, aligning their consciousness with a desired timeline in the ether. Neville Goddard taught, dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world play its part relative to its fulfillment.
That's solid.
Oh, man. So the form doesn't matter. The intention does. Coexist.
That's it.
That's
there it is.
It all works. So nextly, the game is alive. Oh, this is where it's kind of fucking... Oh, I love this stuff. So we have not talked about animism on this show yet.
I didn't even know what it was, to be honest with you.
Oh, dude, it's awesome. And it's not new at all. Like, actually, the most ancient humans ever, like the cavemen, probably were doing this.
Right.
You know? So the game is alive. Animism, unity, and talking to reality. So we're actually going to get a little wild here and bring in some Rick and Morty. For anybody that's ever seen that show, it's one of the best shows ever created. So what if reality isn't just a field? What if it's actually alive? Ancient animism believed that every rock, tree, river, and star had spirit. Not symbolic spirit, real spirit. Pop culture even touches on this, if you remember the Rick and Morty episode called Unity, where the entire world was one being expressed through billions of parts. Dude, I watched that one night whenever I was super baked, and I was like, oh my God, what if that's actually real?
This is the answer. This is the key.
So wild. So that's reality. Every person, every obstacle, every coincidence being part of unity, the living, breathing intelligence of existence. So when you shift from life is happening to me to life is happening with me, the entire game changes and reality starts talking back. So I did want to touch on that just a wee bit as far as animism goes. We're not going to spend a whole bunch of time on it. But I thought it was a really interesting article that I wanted to pull up, and here we go. All right, so this is from the website called imb.org. It It says, do you know the basics of animism? It says animism is not a religion, encompassing everything from communing with spirits to Oprah's message of self-deification. Animism is an understanding of what the world is. People influenced by animism do not usually self-identify as animist. If asked what religion they practice, they are likely to pick the predominant one in their region, be it Christianity, Islam, Judaism, especially if the animists are integrated with non-animists, or if not aligning with the dominant religion brings unpleasant political or social ramifications. I don't really care about that part. So we're just going to read this part right here. So the spiritual world of animists. Animists believe that all life is spirit as opposed to matter. So not matter, it's spirit, right? Okay. Humans have souls, as do animals, insects, plants, bodies of water, rocks, mountains, weather systems, and so on. All are both somewhat good and somewhat evil, but the relevant characteristic is power, not morality. Souls, often referred to as spirits, are living beings with volition, moods, and the capacity to help or wreak havoc as they are wooed or offended. Spirits do not inhabit a living being. Spirits that do not inhabit a living being may exist in the form of a god, a personal force, or a ghost. So I really just kind of wanted to touch on that just for a second, because the idea of animism, I'm not trying to sit here and say that's actually what's going on, but to be honest, it doesn't matter if it's actually going on if you're just playing in your mind, right? And that's why I wanted to bring it up, because sure, you can look at this crystal. Oh, it's like invisible. There we go. You can look at this crystal right here and say, it's just a rock. Ain't nothing special about it. But as soon as, like, for example, I always put my crystals on top of my tarot decks, right? Just like this. They say it charges it up. Do I literally believe that these crystals are charging up the tarot decks? I don't know. I don't fucking know. But I believe that it does, Right. And I think that once you believe it and once you know it and you go through the process, that maybe it spiritually charges it up. Maybe it just spiritually charges your mind into believing that it's actually charging it up. Yep. And so there's all these like weird loopholes that people do within magic and witchcraft and just using it as the symbolism itself. And everything, just like we read in the Magician book by Philip Cooper, one of the best books ever created. Just like whenever he was talking about, he goes, dude, look, you don't need any of this physical shit in order to go through any sort of magical working. It's all just for your mind to accept it. And so if you look at it in that sense, then literally every single thing around you can have a soul or a spirit if you need to work with it.
Right. And basically at that point, you're the alchemist, transmuting everything you can to your benefit.
And also think about the benefit of that too. Like what if every single time you went to go drink a little bit of water, you're like, oh man, I'm drinking spirit now. I'm drinking like something more powerful as opposed to just this liquid whatever,
Yep. And even if it is just of the mind, dude. I mean, say less. You know what I mean? That's really what we have to experience everything. And so if you can get your mind to believe that you're going to be a better version of yourself, even if it's just for today because you drank some moon water, it's like, okay, if it works, it works.
And we do that all the time, to be honest with you, like even more than you think. So like, here's an example. Everybody has a birthday, right? We've all experienced it. Maybe you love your birthday. Maybe you hate your birthday, but you always feel something on your birthday.
Yep.
It's just a fucking day. You know what I mean? That's all it really is. It really is just another day.
It's not even the day, really.
Not even the day. But for some reason, when that day rolls around, you've accepted that it's important to you or not important to you, depending on how you look at your birthday, right? And so your day is going to be affected by your personal
relationship with it.
Yes, your personal relationship with that day. It's just another day. The sun's going to go up. The moon's it's going to go down. The moon's going to come up. The stars are going to shine. The birds are going to sing. The dogs are going to bark. The dishes are going to go in the sink. It's the same as any other day, but the way your mind is connected to it is essentially what helps power it up a little bit.
And nobody else is going to be affected in whichever way you decide to be affected by it. Nobody else is going to experience that but you.
Exactly. Yeah. So, it's just about, kind of taking control of your mind a little bit, really. That's how a lot of this stuff really is. It's just accepting it or choosing what to accept and what can be more beneficial to your life when you apply it.
That's it.
And that's why we like to talk about the witchy shit, because it's just like, it's just fun. You know what I mean? Like that's the cool way of, like, the fun way of going about it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's tangible. You know, it's something you can mess around with and go, oh, you know, that worked. Why did it work? You know, I don't know, but it did.
Right. I mean, we're not going to get crazy. We're not sacrificing to Baphomet.
No.
Fuck out of here, dude.
No.
I mean, I'm not saying that. I don't even know what I believe about that, to be real with you. You know, maybe these are egregores. Maybe these are real spirits. Maybe they're real demons. I'm just not going to try and find out personally.
Right,
you know,
dude.
one way
just
or another.
Leave it alone. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're going to get into practical ways to play with the game in regards to animism. So here's how we're going to start. So, hello, reality. Number 1, spend a day greeting everything as conscious. Your coffee, your car, even your frustrations. Watch how your relationship with life softens. So that's a pretty fun one. Then you can journal with unity, or just animism. There we go. So each night, write a page as if reality is speaking back to you. Let it answer, and you'll be surprised at what comes through. What was that one called?
Cool.
Not ghost writing, but it was something...
Automatic writing.
Automatic writing. You got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, kind of like that. Nextly, we have the sigil time jumping. Oh, this is a really awesome one, actually.
All right.
So draw a symbol that represents your desired reality. Just any symbol that represents the reality that you want, and meditate on it until you feel it's already true. It's all about how can you get yourself to accept that this is what's going to happen? You're the only one in your way.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the hardest part too, as far as like visualizing that. You know, you ask somebody like, well, what do you want in life? Some people might not even have a real answer to that, as far as like the all the details, you know? I mean, you might have one or two little things that you would like to see happen, but you need to really create the entire image, you know, for that to happen.
Exactly.
That's just my opinion. I don't know.
Well, and that just goes the same with any kind of magical sigil rather, where, you know, we've done that with Lord Byron, and we've done like sigil episodes where basically, you know, you just take a sentence or your name or whatever it is that you're trying to basically enchant, and you drop all the vowels and you drop all the double letters, and then you throw it around in a circle. Well, no, you put it in a line, and then you draw the alphabet in a circle, remember? And then you connect, you know, from A to V to, you know, F or
connect
whatever.
The dot type of thing, right?
Right, and eventually you start to get somewhat of a sigil, and you use that. I mean, you can wear that sigil, you can burn that sigil, whatever your intention is, but it's all just ways of getting your mind to accept this is going to be your reality now.
And establishing that version of your life to that symbol. That's it. That's it.
And it sounds crazy. It sounds woo-woo, but I'm telling you, dude, like, this shit is actually real. Like, that's the crazy thing about it. And don't go to the route, well, it might be real, but who's granting that wish? Get out of there. Yeah. Get out of there.
Jonathan, you already know it's demons, right?
It's not.
We've been down this path.
It's not. It's you. That's the real answer. It's you.
Yeah.
So then finally we have the last one as far as the practical ways to play with the game, which is questing. So treat unexpected events as missions from the game and follow them.
Little side missions, dude.
Yeah. Going on a little
Let's
quest.
see how this pans out in my benefit.
So it says, when you start treating reality like a sentient co-pilot, it responds.
That's great. Because if you go into that side mission with some sort of positive mindset, rather than it being, fuck, I got to do this stupid ass shit that I don't want to do. And, you know, look at it as the side mission and go, okay, I wonder what's going to happen. You know, I'm sure there's going to be something that's going to surprise me and it's going to be cool. Now you're already, at the very least, in the positive intention mindset. And so you're more likely to see something good. You know?
Yeah, you don't want to always be like, it's good to always have a goal and to be goal oriented, but you don't want to just rush through the entire journey to get to that goal. And so it's kind of like, you know, I'm a huge NFL guy, and Two Toes definitely is too, my dude. But it's like, anytime the Steelers have ever made a Super Bowl run, the Super Bowls, you know, they are what they are, but usually the best games of the playoffs are in the wild card or in the divisional game or something like that that leads up to the Super Bowl. And that way, whenever the Super Bowl actually gets played out, except for that Steelers and Cardinals Super Bowl game, which was one of the best Super Bowls of all time. But whenever that thing finally gets played out, you look back and you're like, man, that Super Bowl wasn't as good as the divisional round, you know? So it was just like another step along the way to the ultimate path.
Exactly.
So moving on. Oh, here we go. So the big realization is that you are not powerless. If all timelines exist, if the ether is alive, if the game is listening, then you are never powerless. You're not begging a distant god. You're dancing with the very intelligence of existence. So, and this is something that I've been feeling a little bit lately too, just in regards to like maybe to expand upon pantheism a little bit. Maybe I am a panentheist or whatever the fuck it's called.
Whatever they call it, right?
Because I do kind of feel like, you know, it is like a co-creation kind of thing. Like it's like whatever is outside of me, whatever the illusion of things being outside of me, it almost feels like there's another force that you're also working with that is working congruently with your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors, and you know, everything else that you do. It's like it's working with you. It's like, you know, if you wake up in an extremely bad mood, the universe is like, oh, you want bad mood? I'll give you more. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just that way. If you wake up in a good mood, it's like, all right, well, we're going to play your favorite song on the radio just out of nowhere, and just little things that it'll just play with you with, I think.
Oh yeah, dude. And then if you can flip that and say, well, everything is outside of me, I'm not part of any of it, and you're going to automatically, and maybe not, but maybe automatically attach some sort of, it's the bad guy, you know. I can't think of the word I was trying to come up with, but yeah, like everything's against you in a sense.
Right. Yeah.
The antithesis.
Antithesis. I was searching for that word too. Yeah, it's weird how it works. And you know what? Maybe pantheism still covers that too, because I'm looking at something as if the universe is outside of me. If it's all one thing, then nothing's outside of nothing at that point.
Right. Exactly.
So anyway, had to work myself back through that one.
I'm glad you did it.
So yeah, you're dancing with the very intelligence of existence. So every prayer, every spell, every intention isn't you hoping, it's you tuning to the frequency where, what you desire is already real. So nextly, we're going to get to, it's not you versus the world. It's you and the world co-creating. Damn, that flowed right into there perfectly.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the way, we were taught that life is a fight, that we were dropped into this cold, hard world to wrestle our way to survival, that the universe is indifferent or worse. Maybe it's against us. But here's the truth. It's not you versus the world. It's you and the world co-creating. This is what happens when you stop seeing reality as a battlefield and start seeing it as a partnership. When you're locked in a fight mode, you're resisting the very intelligence trying to guide you. But when you relax, you shift from combat to collaboration, and life opens up. Neville Goddard, to bring him up again, once said that there is no one to change but self. What he meant was profound. When you change your inner state, the world doesn't oppose you, it mirrors you. And then Dolores Cannon, her clients often describe moments where once they, quote unquote, aligned with their higher self, life stopped feeling random or chaotic. It became a conversation. Doors opened, synchronicities multiplied, and they stopped forcing and started flowing. That's the point.
And the cool thing about that is, and I always like to flip it, you know, because I feel like it's so much easier for people to understand, you know, when you look at something in a negative way, or you're walking down the street and you see this guy coming and he looks kind of sketchy and you're like, this guy better not do this and that or whatever, or talk shit. And then he does, you know, it's like you just kind of manifested that rather than just kind of saying, or not even acknowledging the other person and just kind of like walk by him or whatever. It's like, you could have done that, but instead you focused on the potential negative. You know, I feel like we do that so much.
100%.
It's just easier for whatever reason.
Yeah, if you look at yourself, essentially, and instead of just looking, this is going to be kind of weird, but hopefully cool. But instead of looking at yourself like just a human with limited capabilities, or, you know, you're outside of God or you're outside of the all or whatever it is, just instead of looking at yourself like a human, look at yourself like a fucking magical wand, right? In that sense. And only whenever you come into alignment does that wand have like full battery, you know, and then, hey, you start manifesting a little bit in your way. I think you're always manifesting regardless, whether you believe it, whether you're in high frequency, low frequency, it's always just a wand. Yeah.
Yep.
So when you work with your highest self, the part of you that exists beyond time, and intertwine that self with the eternal ether, things stop being so hard. Life becomes less about making it happen and more about allowing what's already true to reveal itself. Think of it like a dance. Think of it like dancing with a partner. If you try to lead when you don't know the steps, you'll stumble. But when you feel into the rhythm, when you let the dance guide you, you're suddenly moving together in harmony. That's how life was intended to be, not a solo fight, a co-creation. And here's the secret. The world wants to work with you. And whenever we say world, we're not talking about the planet. We're not talking about,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, whenever I think
Everything.
of the world, it's just like this matrix, this simulation, this version of the game or whatever. Just call it the world.
Existence itself, dude.
Right. So the world wants to work with you. The ether isn't a passive field. It's alive. It's listening. It's responding. When you step into that dance, you're not forcing, you're not begging, but you're collaborating. Reality begins to feel lighter and smoother, more like home.
Dude. You can think about like Schrodinger's cat, you know, how it's like the theory is like the cat is dead and alive simultaneously. Well, just imagine and think that the cat's alive all the time. You know what I mean?
You may as well. And there really is. I mean, it sounds silly, you know, whenever we say stuff like that. But like, dude, I'm telling you, intention is like, it's almost like possession. You know, possession is 9/10 of a law. I think that intention is 9/10 of the law too. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, probably, yeah.
So now we're going to get to the mystics and the ether, or as it's called, the cosmic Play-Doh. So
I never heard that before.
I may have come up with that actually.
Oh, all right. Well, I like it. I like it.
As a wise
Well done.
philosopher once said, the
Right.
cosmic Play-Doh. Who said that? Anyhow, the ether isn't just a concept for physicists and philosophers. It's been the playground of mystics for millennia. They may have used different names, such as spirit, the great mystery, the Tao, but they're all shaping the same cosmic clay. The Druids saw it in the grove. They believed certain places, like oak groves, stone circles, and rivers, were thin places where the veil between the seen and unseen dissolved. They weren't just ritual spaces, they were entry points into the living ether. The Druids would gather there to work with the elements, commune with the unseen, and bend reality through ritual, merging their will with the flow of nature's intelligence. Druids, God, it's
They're
such a
all one.
shame that like it took us so long to talk about them, but man, I love that.
Hey, dude, we didn't know what we didn't know.
Yeah.
I think we had to get to a certain level, you know, before we even entertained that and got into it, because we probably wouldn't even have understood it,
Probably not. Yeah.
you know, or at least appreciated it, you know.
Not in
That's
that
the better word
respect.
for it.
Yeah. So then you have your witches and wizards. They did the same. When a witch draws a circle, lights a candle, and calls on the elements, they're not performing magic tricks. They're stepping into alignment with the ether. Every herb, every chant, every sigil isn't about forcing reality. It's about molding it like cosmic Play-Doh into the desired form. And weirdly enough, not weirdly enough, I don't even want to take it away. Christians too, though they rarely use this language, are doing the same thing. When Jesus said, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. So what he was describing was conscious interaction with the ether. Prayer, when done with deep faith, isn't begging a distant God, it's collapsing the wave into a reality where the prayer is already answered. So
Dude.
that's pretty sweet. And then philosophers like Socrates spoke of the daemon, a guiding spirit or inner genius. To work with one's daemon wasn't just an intellectual exercise. It was a way of plugging into the eternal field of inspiration, accessing insights through that transcended the individual self. Socrates himself said that he never wrote down wisdom because it wasn't his. It was the voice of the daemon, a conduit of the greater intelligence.
That's cool. And he probably didn't write it down because it was for him. Really?
Yeah, well, there's that. And then you got Michael Jackson saying, I had to get home at the end of my concert. I had to hurry up and write down these lyrics that were coming to me or else Prince was going to get them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
Shit.
Which is probably true, dude.
Probably.
I'm sure that happens more than we know.
Yeah. It's like
Just
that.
how could we, right?
Oh, it's like that movie, The Eternals. Remember that movie?
Yep.
It's kind of like that. It's like, look, they're gonna send down, and these were just, characters that represented possibly the ether or whatever the divine intelligence that has everything in it or whatever. But essentially, what they were doing in that movie was just sending down certain technologies and things like that. They didn't give a shit who picked up on it, just as long as somebody did.
Somebody was going to, right?
Yes. So that's the philosophers. And so across cultures, this truth emerges. The ether is like cosmic Play-Doh. It doesn't resist you, it responds to you. It takes shape based on the intention, faith, and alignment of the one working with it. So when the druid sings in a grove, when the witch charges a sigil, when a Christian prays, when the philosopher listens to the daemon, they are all playing with the same clay. And here's the deeper truth. You are holding that clay in your hands right now.
Right at this moment, in the present time.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. I love it. Yeah, around here, like, because my wife, to bring up my wife again, she's going through school, and it's pretty tough, man, as I've said. And, we don't even, she's like, oh, well, it's possible that this could happen. And I said, no, this is going to happen. And she's like, yeah, that's right. That's going to happen. As far as like potentials in the air, as far as where she might end up for her externship. And it's like she's already kind of starting to use that vocabulary as well. Like, she understands. Don't even entertain the potential that she doesn't prefer.
Yeah, I mean,
because then you're putting it out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what they were saying earlier, which is essentially like I can't remember the exact quote, but basically it's like where your thoughts go, energy flows, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, just getting back over here to the chat. It's Ashton said, time is just a metric of the fourth dimension distance. Yeah, and then he said pretty much what Luke said on the Cult of Conspiracy. Luke is on some shit, bro.
Right.
Like that guy, yeah, he's cracking some codes.
Done some contemplating in his day.
I think he's on the same level, like in not exactly the same level, but very similar to Terrence Howard. Like that's how
really?
That's how wild he gets with this shit.
Holy shit, dude. Gotta get him on the show then.
You're talking about interdimensional space and time, bro.
Right.
Like it's next level shit.
Yeah.
And Mama Slaney said, it's crazy when you watch the clock, time slows down. And when you're busy, working time speeds on. Or when you're busy working, time speeds on.
We actually did an experiment like this. I think I was like in 4th grade or something, and the math teacher was like, or it was just the teacher, but she was like, all right, we're going to stare at the clock for a minute. Right. And then after we do this, we're going to, and she handed out a bunch of pieces of paper, and it was like 10 or 15 math problems that we had to try to get through. And it was like when we were staring at the clock, it took forever, right? But when we were trying to solve all the math and we were trying to get done with it before the minute was up, dude, it felt like 20 seconds. Like there just wasn't enough time.
Oh, dude. And that's something that back whenever I was editing, and Sean, you used to be an editor of this show as well.
Yeah.
But damn well the feeling of whenever you're in the middle of saying something and it takes you feel like you're trying to come up with a word in your mind, or maybe you stutter across something, and for some reason when you are just fucking about to explode on the inside, and you're like, what is that goddamn word? I know that at least 10 seconds has passed. There's no way that at least 10 seconds hasn't passed. Then you go back and edit, and it was only like maybe a second. Maybe a second and a half.
Maybe, and it wasn't even noticeable. But in that moment, you felt like you were drowning.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, so it's all about, perspective.
That's it. That's it, man. That's all of this is, if we're being honest.
On some real shit, yeah. And if you don't know, then try some DMT, and you'll find out.
Yeah, real quick.
Ashton said, why does spirituality preach oneness when we are trending towards a state of entropy? I think that our bodies are trending towards a state of entropy, though. I don't know if the soul or the cosmic energy that we are, or the spark or whatever, I don't know if that's experiencing entropy personally. I think that entropy, it has to be like I don't know, maybe it's a physics thing.
Physical thing.
Right. And then Two Toes 211 said, gotta work at 5 a.m., sucks to be me. See you next time. Love, Yins guys. Bringing out the Yins.
The Yins,
my
dude.
Guy.
That's familiar to me.
I still say Yins in front of my parents. Not gonna lie.
I used to make fun of my mom for saying it like that. you know,
Yeah.
'cause she's from Pittsburgh, you know, and I was like, Yins, guys, what is that?
It's
You know?
Pittsburghese right there, baby.
Yeah. Yep.
So here we go. So the voices of the mystics, one message, many tongues. So sometimes the deepest truths aren't meant to be explained. They're meant to be felt. So before we close, I want everyone to hear this idea, not from me, but from the chorus of voices that have been saying it all along. Jesus said, "The kingdom of God is within you." Luke chapter 17, verse 21. Not far off, not someday, within you. Okay?
Right now. Right now.
Kingdom of God
Not
is
later.
within you right now.
Mhm.
Your boy Rumi said, "Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. How do you know the side?" I always fucking butcher this one. How do you know the side you are used to is better than the one that is to come? So we kind of said that one earlier. Still a good one. So the mystic poet saw the flow, not as something to control, but to dance with.
Love it.
Neville Goddard said, "Dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world play its part relative to its fulfillment. So the ether doesn't need to be convinced, it needs to be assumed."
Oh, all right. Manifestation, dude.
Yeah, dude. Nikola Tesla said, "The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than all the previous centuries of its existence." So he saw that what most scientists wouldn't, that the unseen is where the power lies.
And to be honest, dude, I feel like that's what they're doing more times than not. You know, when they're smashing these particles together and they're trying to cause like a miniature Big Bang. They're trying to figure out what happened in the beginning. They're trying to see the unseen. You know, there's dark matter. There's all these things that they're already trying to figure out. And I feel like it has to do with a lot of the things that we experience, you know, in the spiritual.
Yeah, I think, man, it's a lot to swallow, and to be honest, a lot of it doesn't even really make sense until you start to accept some of it, and that's going. I would say that it's going beyond just believing, because believing kind of assumes that it's not real, but I think accepting is probably the more correct term.
That's a great word. Yep.
Yeah. So Dolores Cannon said, "Time is not linear. All things, past, present, and future, exist simultaneously. You are living all your lives at once." She pulled this truth from thousands of souls who saw beyond the veil through the past life regressions. Socrates says, "I am not wise. I only know that I know nothing." And yet he listened to his daemon, the whisper of the ether, to guide his every step.
Dude, that's really how I've been feeling lately. Like, I don't know anything, man. You know, and you start to challenge the things that you thought you knew. And then you're like, oh, well, that's not exactly right either. That's just the imaginary framework that I've built over time, you know, and it's not that at all. And it could be this or it could be that. It's up to me to decide how I want to allow that to manifest within my mind.
Yeah, I think so. It's so it's extra because it's something that you have to kind of wrap your mind around. And once you choose to accept it as your reality starts to shift and change.
Yep.
And so, I mean, I'm not going to lie, you know, you kind of almost got to pretend it, like you almost got to fake it till you make it kind of thing. And then you start to see that, like, because all your mind is, it's just a program, and it's up to you to program your mind. Your mind is not you. Right? Like, just like within meditation, you want to chant to yourself, like, "I'm not the body, I'm not even the mind." Right? So if you can separate yourself from your mind, and anybody that's ever gone into a deep meditation or anything like that knows that you can separate from your mind, that you can be above your mind, and that your mind is just running on the programs of everything that it interacted with, not only today, but, you know, kind of in part everything that's ever existed in your life, everything that's ever happened to you in your life. So you can separate yourself from that and just be the observer. And once you're the observer, you can train your mind, aka the fucking program, to look at reality in ways that favor you. Yeah. And that's something that we're learning every episode on this show, I think.
Dude, that quote, "You're not the body, you're not even the mind." That was something that really helped me when I was really going through it. And it was you that, because I wasn't looking into a whole lot of the spiritual stuff at that time. I think I was probably having glimpses of it and maybe barely starting to really look into it. And you had told me that, dude, and that was so huge, And it's basically magic. You just told me a couple words, and I was like, oh, I'm able to look at this from a higher perspective and kind of get out of that space that I was kind of perpetually keeping myself in. You know, it's like you can just do that.
Yeah, you can separate yourself from it because the mind can imprison you. You know, the mind is where everything that has ever happened to you is constantly running on repeat. So that's where people get like, they get lost in, you know, all the terrible things that they've ever done and all the terrible things they've ever said, all the terrible things they've ever thought. And it gets really loud in there. And the thing is that like that bitch has a mute button.
Yeah.
You know, and that mute button is you separating yourself from it and looking at it as if it's literally separate from you. And if it's separate from you, it's not you. Therefore, you're not going to let it overtake you. And it's harder. I mean, it's easier said than done. I'm not saying that it's super easy. This is why it's so important to meditate every single day. Because
simple, but it's not easy.
Right. And so if you can meditate every day or as often as you possibly can, that in turn becomes simple and easy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, your brain is going to do what it's designed to do. If we're having, I think they say 60,000 thoughts a day, and if you're living you wake up in a negative vibe in 2 hours, how many negative thoughts do you think you had? You know what I mean?
Lot.
Like I'm sure it's a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if you're really feeding into each one, you know, that could spiral out of control real quick.
Well, and most people just succumb fully to their thoughts. You know, and that's not the exact right way, because the idea is that you want to get out of the flow of your mind and into the flow of the ether or of the spirit or of the world or whatever of your higher self. Like it sounds silly, and maybe it's even outplayed a little bit, but that's what, whenever we say higher self, it's like that part of you that is above your thoughts.
Right.
You know, and
the observer of the thoughts.
When you're like in flow state with your higher self, and then, you know, it's like you're doing everything in your highest good. You're doing everything in the flow of whatever it is that you're trying to manifest or whatever it is kind of life that you're trying to live. It's like it starts to become a little bit easier. And all it takes is 10 or 15 minutes a day to meditate. That's all you need.
Right.
It's like that's literally the magic.
Exactly, dude. And when you have yourself in that state of mind, that's not saying that negative things aren't going to come around, but when they do, then you're more susceptible to being able to rise above and look at this as a situation that you can learn from rather than something that's going to destroy you. You know? Right.
Night, Ashton. See you next time, bud. Yeah, so where were we? Oh, okay, here we go. So we have Socrates said, "I'm not wise. I only know that I know nothing." That needs to be a tattoo.
That's perfect.
You know, even the ancients were saying you don't know what you don't know.
I know. All right. There must be something to it.
I think so. Then you have the Tao Te Ching that says that the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. So that's essentially like the noose that is looking back at the one, right?
Yep.
So yeah, even the noose, even though it thinks that it is everything, it knows that there's something even lurking in the mist beyond it.
Right.
Yeah. Contemplation. That's what it's all about.
That's it.
So words will always fall short of the living field, but you can feel it. These voices across cultures and centuries are all pointing towards the same truth. That time isn't a line, it's an eternal now. That reality isn't dead matter, it's a living, breathing unity, and that you are not separate from it, but a co-creator with it. So take these words with you, not a philosophy, or not as a philosophy, but as a living practice. So yeah.
That's great.
And then just one final little thing here. You are not a pawn in this world. You are a co-creator in the game of unity. Every prayer, every spell, every intention is a way of shaping the cosmic Play-Doh of the ether. The game is alive. The field is listening. And the moment you align with your highest self and step into the eternal now, reality dances with you. So what do you want to create today?
I love it, dude. That's great. I love how you include all of the different ways of thought. You know, that's that coexist bumper sticker, man.
I mean, that's what I try and do. My goal is just to try and find a way for somebody to latch onto something. You know what I mean? And some people are Christians, some people are mystics, some people are pagans, some people are whatever. Some people are just, they operate from strictly a scientific standpoint. And so I think that it's important to try and include everybody, because as soon as you don't include somebody, then they feel left out. And then if they feel left out, they can't really find something to grasp on. And if you can't grasp on it, well, then it's just a burned couple of hours that we just spent talking on it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. No, that was great.
So we do have a couple of things more that we wanted to add here. There's a website called spiritualmeaningsguide.com that will dive into a little bit deeper into the ether a little bit.
All right.
This is a good one. So what is the ether? Exploring its spiritual meaning. So the concept of ether has fascinated thinkers, philosophers, and spiritual seekers for centuries. Often described as a mystical or subtle substance that permeates the universe, ether occupies a unique place in various spiritual and metaphysical traditions. It serves as a bridge between the physical and the spiritual realms, offering profound insights into the nature of existence, consciousness, and the cosmos. So we get into the origins of the ether, from ancient philosophy to science. The term ether, sometimes spelled, it's A-E-T-H-E-R or E-T-H-E-R, either way, comes from the ancient Greek philosophy, where it was considered the fifth element beyond earth, air, fire, and water. So whenever you look at the idea of a pentagram, right? It always have that little pointy tip of the star at the top. That's always the ether, right?
Okay.
Because you have earth, air, fire, water on the other sides.
Yep.
So the word itself means upper air or pure fresh air, and it was believed to fill the region of the universe above the terrestrial sphere. So that was how the Greeks saw it.
Right.
Then you get into classical philosophy, where Aristotle's fifth element. So Aristotle proposed that all earthly materials were composed of four classical elements. However, he posited a fifth element called ether as the divine substance that made up celestial bodies. Unlike the mutable elements on earth, ether was thought to be immutable, perfect, and eternal, embodying purity. That's interesting.
Space between the notes, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Then you have your boy Plato and some other philosophers. Plato viewed ether as a medium for transmitting light and divine influence. Then you have other Hellenistic philosophers extended this idea by associating it with spiritual dimensions beyond ordinary perception. That's where it starts to get a little murkier. But hey, I believe there has to be other dimensions. Like, it's not even a belief anymore. Like, it's like science has proven it in one way or another especially through string theory.
Yep.
Then you have scientific interpretations. So in early modern science, especially during the 17th to the 19th centuries, scientists hypothesized an ether as a medium through which light waves traveled in space. Okay, and then the luminiferous ether theory sought to explain electromagnetic wave propagation before Einstein's theory of relativity disproved its physical existence. So while modern physics has discarded a physical ether, its spiritual and metaphysical meanings remain influential. So you have ether in spiritual traditions, such as the first one we're going to get to is Hinduism and prana. So in Hindu philosophy, the concept closest to ether is akasha. How about that one? Meaning space or sky. The akasha, like the Akashic Records almost. The akasha is considered the primordial element from which all other elements emerge. It represents cosmic consciousness and is often linked with prana, the vital life force or breath that sustains life. And Akasha is said to store all knowledge, vibrations, and memories, the essence of creation itself.
Let's just call it the force at this point.
Force. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Then you have in Buddhism. So similar to Hinduism's Akasha, Buddhist teachings speak of space as one of the five great elements, or the Mahabhuta, I think. So you have space, or ether, is not empty, but a subtle dimension that allows all phenomena to manifest. Essentially the same thing the Hindus were saying. And meditative practices often involve connecting with this space element to realize emptiness and interconnectedness. So you want to get to a point where you realize that it's all empty and it's all interconnected.
Right. And that's the space that you use to travel like astrally, or to like if you want a remote view, you just send your consciousness through that space.
Yeah, it's the unmanifest. So yeah, it's like the double slit essentially. At that point. Then you have Western mysticism and theosophy. So in Western esoteric traditions such as theosophy or Hermeticism, ether is considered the quintessence or the purest form of spirit. It is regarded as the medium through which divine energy flows, and mystics describe it as a bridge between mind and matter, or spirit and body.
Oh, shit. Rainbow Bridge, man.
Rainbow Bridge up in this biatch. So this notion extends into modern metaphysical thought, where ether is often associated with higher consciousness or universal energy fields, such as chi or prana. Same thing. So there is a spiritual meaning of the ether, the quintessence of existence. So at its core, ether symbolizes a deeper layer of reality beyond what our senses perceive. The spiritual meaning can be understood in several key aspects. Number one, the medium of connection. Ether represents the invisible fabric binding all things in creation. It emphasizes that no entity exists in isolation, that everything is interconnected through this subtle energy. Spiritually, this fosters the ideas of awareness of unity with others and nature, recognition of collective consciousness, and openness to receiving universal wisdom. I think they were really on it whenever they were talking about, like, the Hindus called it the Akasha. It's like the receiving the universal wisdom or downloads of sorts. Wouldn't you call the Akasha or the ether the fucking Akashic records at that point?
Exactly.
Then you have the source of life force. So many traditions view ether as the primal life force animating every living being. So tapping into this energy can enhance vitality, healing capacities, and mental clarity. Through practices like meditation, breathwork, or energy healing modalities such as Reiki, individuals aim to harmonize their personal energy with this cosmic essence. I'll be real with you, dude. I never really, for the longest time, like I don't know how I felt about Reiki, because I was like, some people could just really be full of shit and not really connecting. That's the thing with a lot of this spiritual stuff, like, psychics and tarot readers and, people like that, because it's like, okay, I mean, I can't prove it one way or another. You kind of just have to accept it. But I think that Reiki has to be a real thing now. Like, over time, I've understood it in a way that that I think that it must be real, because you're essentially just you're harnessing all of your energy or your chi or your prana,
right?
And you're essentially like guiding it all to your hands to use as energetic tools. Yeah. And some people can find like dark spots whenever they're going all throughout like your light body. Yeah. Whenever they're doing Reiki. And it's like they just focus all of their chi onto that one dark spot and
light it up, excite it, right?
Yeah, I have to believe that's real.
Well, there was a video that I was just watching a few days ago where this guy, he's a well-known healer, and these scientists were like, well, let's look into this, let's really see if we can see something tangible here. Like, what's going on with your hands? Is there any kind of noticeable reaction? And so they had some sort of very sensitive equipment, that can really sense any type of, and I could be butchering it. I don't know if it's actual photons or what it was that they were calculating, but whatever equipment they had, it was super sensitive. And dude, whenever he put his hands next to their, because they got a baseline, of him not doing anything, and it was just kind of like normal, like kind of going up and down. As soon as he focused his prana or force or whatever it was that he uses to heal people, that thing started spiking, dude, like almost instantly. And so
I love that
scientific evidence that there's something happening, whether that's coming from the ether or whether it's coming directly from that dude. Either way, essentially there's something happening.
So like what you're doing is, and I'm like obsessed with this kind of stuff, and like just learning about how they do it, like certain masters of this, right? And so you're channeling all of your energy and you're focusing all of it into one space. So imagine your body is just one giant light, right?
Right.
And all that light, it goes out to your toes, it goes out to your fingertips, it goes out to the tip of your nose and every hair that's on your head, right? It's all encompassing. Well, you can sit there in meditation and just sit there for a minute and try to imagine every single like photon of that light being condensed into a smaller portion. And you try to imagine, from what I hear, you try to imagine like that light going into your hands, and you're like trying to form like this ball of energy, almost like imagine you're holding like a giant like crystal ball, right? And that's where all your energy is being channeled to. And then you take that and you're holding essentially like that crystal ball, or almost like you have like flashlights at the palm of your hands, right? And that's what you're trying to like maneuver and traverse somebody's body with whenever you're doing Reiki, from what I understand.
Oh yeah, it makes sense. It's funny because not too long ago, a few days ago actually, my daughter and I we were sitting in the living room, and our cat was on the top of the couch, and I told her I'm gonna see if I can throw the force at her. We were just watching Star Wars, and so I actually tried to like visualize some type of energy coming from my hands, and I balled it up, and I threw it at her, but it didn't do anything. I'm like, all right, I'm really gonna do it this time. And so I did the same thing. Didn't make any kind of sounds. And I really tried to charge it up, and I threw it at her, and all of a sudden she got up and stretched and just decided that was the very moment she was going to wake up and start moving around.
What?
So I don't know if maybe it was a,
No,
I don't want to say
you
coincidence.
Don't say that damn word.
I don't know, man. I'm just saying, like, maybe it was something.
I think it
Because at
has
that
to
very moment she got up and stretched, like she just had this instant, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like if you remember from the first Avengers movie, whenever Iron Man and Thor are fighting, and fucking Thor, he takes Mjolnir and he's like charges up Iron Man, and then it goes all the way 1,000%, fully charged.
He's like, that's interesting.
How about that?
Yeah, dude. Thor's doing some Reiki on him.
Kinda, yeah.
Right.
So, all right, let's continue this article. This is a pretty fascinating one. So
right.
It says the bridge between physical and spiritual realms. So ether acts as an intermediary between tangible matter and intangible spirit. So it enables communication between dimensions. It facilitates astral projection or lucid dreaming. Didn't even think to bring that up yet. That makes sense, because they talk about like whenever you do astral projection, or whenever you go to sleep at night and you're dreaming, that you have like essentially like this silver cord that's attached to you. Almost envision like astronauts whenever they go out and like spacewalk, they have that one, like that long hose connected to them for their air and stuff. I think it's something like that always keeps you attached, and it's never going to let you go too far. And that's why whenever people have like sleep paralysis and they decide to jump out of their body with the out of body experiences, it's like, at least for me, in my one experience that I've had with it, it was like I knew internally that there was a clock ticking and that I needed to get back to my body. And maybe that's what that silver cord is.
Right, dude. Remember I was telling you, because you were like, because I don't know if I spoke about it on the podcast, but I had an experience like that where all of a sudden I was out of my body. I didn't think to look back at my body or to see if there was some kind of cord. That wasn't even what I was thinking. All of a sudden it just seemed like I was somewhat floating through my house. Like it wasn't like I was at someone else's house, like it was a dream of some sort. I felt like I was in my house, and I felt that exact feeling, because you asked me, you were like, did it feel like you were free? And I said, to be honest with you, I felt like time was of the essence, man. And I felt like there was something looming, and I had to like, I didn't even have like a goal or like, I'm going to go over here. It looked like I was looking at like the bar near my kitchen, and I was looking around, and it was almost like a flip book, but not quite, you know what I mean? Where it was kind of like I was focusing my focus, on certain things. And I felt like time was of the essence. Like I had to hurry or something. I don't know. It's it's really hard to explain. Not necessarily time, but there was something like urgent or something. I don't know. It was something very strange, dude. I think that was my very first out of body.
Something that was calling you back home. Yeah.
Something, dude. Yeah, but I didn't think to look back at my body or to see if, or even look at whatever I was at that point. It was only like almost like I was just consciousness. Like I was just observing.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, you probably wouldn't even try to be very logical, because you're leaving your brain. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, and you're
Yeah.
just taking your higher self, or you're just taking your whatever that, some sort of
Existence is, right?
je ne sais
Some
quoi, dare I say.
maybe that's why it's hard to put a word on that, how I was feeling, because it was definitely out of sorts. If that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. So yeah, for spiritual practitioners seeking enlightenment or higher states of consciousness, connecting with ether represents transcending material limitations. Then it talks about the purity and transformation. So since classical depictions considered ether pure and immutable, it symbolizes spiritual purity, free from earthly impurities like ego or attachments, which, you know, feels like it whenever you have that out of body experience. You don't give a
yeah.
shit about your ego. Who are you trying to show off for? It's a you
No.
experience.
Yeah, it
You
was
know?
just an experience, let me tell you. For
Yeah.
sure.
And so engaging with this quintessence encourages inner transformation, leading toward wisdom and liberation. So in many ways, ether invites seekers to refine themselves spiritually by embracing qualities like love, light, balance, and harmony. So how to connect with the ether spiritually? Understanding the concept of ether intellectually is one thing. Experiencing it personally requires intention and practice. Here are some approaches for deepening your connection with this subtle essence. So, meditation focused on space or light. So, visualize yourself surrounded by vast open space filled with radiant light, embodying infinite potential. Maintain awareness on your breath while feeling expansive calmness spreading throughout your being. Pretty simple. Then you have energy work and breath work. So practices such as pranayama or yogic breathing, qigong or reiki help you activate subtle energy channels where ether flows freely. These methods purify blockages so that life force circulates unimpeded. You do feel like you're going through like some kind of cleanse of sorts whenever you come up out of meditation.
Well, I mean, you spend some time not being the body or the mind. You know,
Right.
It's like you got a little break there.
Yeah, yeah. What doesn't that kind of point to, like, it doesn't really exist anyway, that it's all just an illusion, all of your thoughts and all of your fears and all of your worries and all of that, like, it's just illusion.
Goes away, man. You know, how is it that, you know, when I'm awake and alert, I'm hitting especially on the podcast, I feel like I hit this vape way more than I do with just regular life, you know? But like, why is it when I'm in a meditation, I don't even think about it? And then as soon as I come out, I'm like, oh, it's like I'm back in my body, back in my ego, back to my addictions instantly.
Yeah.
I'm not even thinking about the vape at all.
No.
Not a single thought is, well, once this is done, I'm going to hit my vape. Like, no.
Well, and the same
Not at
thing
all.
goes even for when you're tripping, you don't think about it.
Oh, that's true.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, right.
that's the last
Yep.
thing I think about doing.
Yep.
So then you have spending time in nature would be another way. So nature's environments often vibrate with balanced energies reflective of cosmic harmony. So forests, mountains, and oceans provide natural access points for sensing universal connection where you may intuitively feel ether's presence. That's probably the most obvious.
You do feel better after a little time in nature, or you're at the beach, or you know what I mean, you're in the woods, or you come back with like almost refreshed. And I think, and I could be wrong, but I feel like on top of maybe the ether, you're getting a larger picture of this larger thing that you're a part of. You know what I mean? And it kind of removes all the small bullshit out of the way.
Yeah, and I think
You're like, oh, I'm part of this.
dude, even when you just, and you've said it before, but even when you simply just like take your trash outside at night, you know what I'm saying? There's a different thing going on. And what I like to relate it to is that, like, if you ever notice every time you go into a Walmart or a Walgreens or a Target or a grocery store or the mall or a gas station or any place where you go in, right?
Right.
Every single one of those places will say enter or entrance, right? And it really does feel like you're going into another world of sorts. And maybe the reason is because you're going in trance. You know, like you're going into a trance whenever you enter these places. That's why it's like whenever you go to Walmart, it's like, okay, this time I'm only getting bread and eggs. I'm not getting anything else. I'm going to spend less than $10 here and I'm walking the fuck out. Next thing you know, you got a buggy full of $400
Why is there
worth of
honey
groceries.
buns all of a sudden? You know,
Yeah.
like when did that happen? I didn't even experience that. It just manifested there.
And they put you into a trance with the fluorescent lights and,
Yeah.
you know, with obviously like strategic placing on shelves and whatnot. And that's why the milk and the eggs are in the back of the store. You have to go through every single, it's like you got to remain strong. I'm not looking. Nobody, no, you can't always be that strong, you know?
And then you make it to the checkout line and you think you're safe, right? And then they got all the candy and the gum and all these bullshit little trinkets that you don't need, but there you are, you're looking at those too.
And you know,
and you're like,
and you're going to be waiting, you know? So
Right.
it's like, you might convince yourself whenever you pull up to that, or whenever you pull up your buggy to that checkout line, like, I'm not getting any of this shit. I don't need it.
Right.
I'm on a diet, you know, I'm trying to look out for number one over here. And the longer you sit, it's like the longer it's just sitting there, like waiting for you. You know,
you start to talk yourself into it. You know, you're like, well, I'm here and it's there, you know, and it's going to be delicious. It's not making it to the car. For sure.
It's like, what's
You
this
know
one?
what I mean?
What's this one Reese's cup really going to mean in the
Right.
in the realm of everything? You know,
You know, and you just eat the whole thing. You know, you don't take bites of it. You just shove it in there, and then it's almost like it didn't happen.
Exactly.
You know, you could trick yourself into being like, you know, nobody saw that. You know, nobody saw me eat that like an animal. You know,
didn't even chew it, just swallowed it.
I know, right? Yeah, that's the way.
So yeah, then it goes into studying esoteric teachings as a way as well. So exploring sacred texts from various traditions that describe quintessence or the Akasha. This contextual knowledge enhances symbolic appreciation, enabling experiential insight. This is what I feel like too. It's like, you know, we've talked about a bevy of possibilities and all the wild things that we've talked about. But it's like each time, and they might not even always be connected, the things that we talk about. But it's like each time you talk about something that puts you into that right brain and causes you to think spiritually or imaginatively or whatever that is, it's just a subtle reminder that it is there, it does exist, and it doesn't even have a name, and you can call it whatever the hell you want, but it's
Really
all
can.
going to act through this one medium, and maybe that one medium just is the ether.
That's right. That's great. I love that.
So modern perspectives, ether in contemporary spirituality. So today's spiritual communities continue to embrace ether-related ideas under different names, including universal energy, source energy, or cosmic consciousness. Some scientists explore the quantum fields akin to ancient notions of subtle cosmic substances underlying physical reality. While these ideas remain speculative scientifically, they resonate profoundly within metaphysical frameworks emphasizing holistic views of existence. Technology such as biofeedback devices measuring electromagnetic fields around humans also supports theories about energetic bodies interacting with these subtle fields, modern parallels to classical conceptions about ether's role, essentially. So in conclusion, embracing ether as a pathway to spiritual awakening. So it says, though elusive in physical terms, ether endures as an enduring symbol for something greater than ourselves, a timeless essence connecting all life across space and time. So by exploring its rich history and diverse meanings, we gain insight into universal truths about interconnectedness, we recognize intrinsic vitality present within us, and cultivate pathways toward elevated consciousness. Embracing the concept of ether invites us beyond material confines toward embracing wholeness, inspiring compassion, unity, creativity, and spiritual liberation. So, in a world increasingly fragmented by division or materialism, revisiting this ancient quintessence offers hope that beneath surface differences lies one profound reality shimmering quietly through everything that we see, an eternal breath uniting us all. That's a good one.
I love it. And you know what? Either way, man, ultimately, all of this is just to get us to either be more aware or just operate on a higher level. You know, everything that we go into, I feel like that's what it's doing for us. Synchronicities, deja vu, everything, and most of it is a lot of it is just this metaphysical in the metaphysical space. You know, but if something you've learned can cause you to be more aware and really appreciate your present situation. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what we're trying to get at, dude.
Yeah, just trying to find ways to live life fully and fully embrace it and not live with any kind of regrets. You know, like, it's like, you know, whenever you were a little kid everything was awesome, bro. Like every single thing was so cool. It's like, you know, I was just at the pool earlier. Me and my son, we went over to the pool in my apartment complex, and there was this family, and it was the mom, and they had like 7 kids. It was crazy.
Oh, wow.
But they were all swimming in the pool, and the dad comes home. I think he got home from work and just wanted to go sit out by the pool with his kids, right, and his family. And his dad just said one thing, and he goes, "Tonight we're gonna order a movie, and I'm making popcorn." And those kids, it was like fucking Christmas. It was
magic.
like the most magical thing that they've ever heard. They were all excited. Maybe they were all just playing anyway. But then that one little bit of something. It's like something as simple as just putting on a Netflix movie and making a bag of microwave popcorn. It's beyond that. It's beyond the movie. It's beyond the popcorn, because you know in that moment it's going to be special. You're going to be laughing. You're going to all be experiencing something as a whole family. And that's like, you know, that's what we need to get back to as far as like just appreciating the small things like that. And so whenever I saw that, I was like, that's what it's about right there, dude.
Yeah, dude, because the small things are happening so much more than the big things, you know? And so you might as well make those small things more significant, right?
You can make them magical. So yeah, there's one more thing that I wanted to play. It's just a short little video. And this woman, I guess there's this, she's going to explain it really well, but essentially that there are 9 magical words that whenever you say them in a row, the CIA, I guess, has been blocking this information from what she says. And they didn't want this to get out. So it's like
all over now.
It's literally the best magical incantation that you can use for manifestation from what she understands. So I was like, I mean, it doesn't necessarily pertain to the show, but maybe it does.
Right.
So let's see what she has to say right here. Shout out to Daily Writing Makes Book, Professor Lee. So here it goes.
I think that's true.
Hey, are you here looking for the 9-word script that the CIA doesn't want you to know about, that makes you manifest 20 times faster, that if you're searching for it online, you have to take some kind of course, or you have to give them all your information, or you have to press all these buttons? Anyways, I'm a journalist. I did some digging, and it was incredibly simple. It is, universe, show me how good it gets to be. Once again, that's universe, show me how good it gets to be. And supposedly, because it's more like a spell, that it makes things work a lot faster, and also you're not asking for something specific. You are daring the universe to show you how good it gets to be. Check it out. Try it.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's great. That's like pronoia. We've gone over that before.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, show me how good it can be, rather than how much worse can it get. We all know those words.
Hell yeah, dude.
Give me a break type of negative mentality. We know that speak, but like, show me how good it can be.
Yeah, universe, show me how good it can be. Yeah, why not? Yeah. So yeah, we'll wrap it up right there. We're gonna get to the tarot. Sean, did we pull a card, sir?
Yeah, we did, dude. We got the 9 of Cups.
9 of Cups. All right, we're gonna.
I don't know why I always get a little excited when I see like 9 or 3 or 6.
Yeah, 9 is
like there's some.
9 is always nearing the end of a cycle,
right?
Because
which
10 brings
I
it to
think we
completion.
are with the new moon. I think is tomorrow. So,
bro, I'm not gonna lie. Today has been an MFer. Like, just something has just felt so off today. Like, I've been
out
trying.
Of sorts.
I've been having a hard time just getting into my flow today, dude. And and so literally right before the show, I was like, you know what? Let me light some incense. I'm gonna go sage my entire house and try and get there. And I was like, thank God, at least there's a meta today. We're gonna meditate. We're gonna be talking about something, you know?
Yeah, man. It was needed.
So the 9 of Cups. It's this guy. He's just kind of chilling there with his cups, looking like trophies. He's all proud, right? So it looks like a good card. The 9 of Cups, it says, sit back and revel in the abundance you've cultivated as gratitude increases the flow of success. Dude, that's
Yep.
what we're talking about today.
Yep.
The Nine of Cups card brims with the energy of abundance, wealth, and security. Here we see a proud-looking man seated with 9 cups displayed like trophies behind him. He's worked hard for these cups, and he is pleased with his accomplishments, as indicated by the blue cloth beneath them. The Nine of Cups carries the energy of each card that came before, experiencing each lesson along the road. Known as the Wish card in the tarot, this card signals fulfillment of your dreams or efforts coming to fruition.
The wish card, dude. You're putting your intentions out into the universe, man, and asking the universe, how much better can it get?
Wow.
Show me.
Great card. The spiritual message behind it says your health is improving and you're welcoming overall feelings of happiness and joy. Make a wish and continue to follow your intuitive guidance on your path. This card signals abundance in all areas of life. Good card.
You know, it's funny because whenever I pull a card, not all the time, sometimes I feel like, oh, okay, this will be a good one, you know, but when I pulled this one, I was like, oh, I wonder how this is going to go. You know, I was wondering if it was even going to be at least, you know, congruent with our episode. And every time, man,
Just
you know,
get
I
with
don't
the
even know
flow.
why I question it at all.
Why would you? It's
Shouldn't.
still exciting every time, though. It's still a little bit shocking about how it seems to align itself. I mean,
Right.
literally just going, he's basically sitting there and he's like, yo, you go with the flow. This is what you got.
Right.
You know, like he's
look at yeah.
I got all these fucking trophies behind me. You know,
Let me see what I got here.
What, you think I'm
You know?
making this shit up or? you
Right.
know what I mean?
Proof's in the pudding. It's right there. Look at.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that card perfectly encompassed this show, I think.
It's great. Yeah, man.
So yeah, well, that was a fun episode. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed it. Just, I don't know, just kind of something that just came to me today. So
It's
hopefully
in the flow.
it matched with everybody else out there. Maybe it spoke to you in one way or another. And just know that like you're not separate from the rest of reality. You are co-creating with this reality, and there is a flow of abundance if you choose to connect your
Right.
energy to that. And it's just about trying to get in flow. And when you're not in flow, you know what you got to do. Like just
Right.
sit down, meditate a little bit. Maybe go get a glass of water, get a little more hydrated, stop eating the bullshit. And that's one thing that I
Reese's
realized.
Cups got to go, dude. You know?
Yeah, Reese's Cups got to go. But that's one thing that I realized too is that, you know, I've been on keto for like the last 3 weeks or so.
Still going
And-
strong, huh?
Well, I was up until a couple of days ago, and I got back and I just started eating everything that my kids are eating, and I'm like, oh man, I feel maybe that could be a contributing factor too. So it's you can't just have awareness in one aspect of life and not in all the others. You have to develop that awareness around everything else. Whenever you look at, and there was this guy. I used to date this one girl, and her dad was like in superior shape, like in his 50s, and I was like, how are you doing it, dude?
Wow.
And he goes. He honestly, he kind of looked like Mr. Clean. But I said, how are you staying in such good shape? He goes, the trick is that as you're looking at some food, just imagine before you eat it, imagine what you're going to feel like 5 minutes after you get done eating it, and you're not going to touch it.
Right.
He goes, once you can convince your mind of that, instead of becoming attached to how good it's going to taste, become attached to the outcome whenever you're done eating it. And that is really the secret sauce in it. Now, it's easier said than done, and you obviously have to practice it every day. And sometimes you're just like, you know what? Fuck myself 5 minutes from now. I'm worried about me right now.
Yeah,
you know,
dude, future self can take a walk.
Take a hike, bud. Go kick rocks. But sometimes, sometimes reality is like, ooh, you hit that burger or that pizza or those fries every day. You're gonna start to get the point, and it's like, maybe I don't want to feel like that tomorrow. So
Right. And it's so simple. You know, we all know that's how you're gonna feel afterwards. It's just getting, like you said before, getting your mind to accept, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't eat this. You know, accept it in your mind that it's definitely not going to work out for you if you do.
But even that is just about getting into the flow state, right? Getting into that same flow, because you can think that thing one day and just completely forget about it the next. And then you got to be taught the lesson over and over and over again. Eventually, you just want to get out of that shit cycle.
That's it, man. That's it.
So, yeah, if
That was
anything,
fun, man.
if anything, today was just about stepping into the flow of everything. And, that's
It's
pretty
a
much
good
it.
place
What are
to
your
be
thoughts?
when you find yourself there, man. You know, when you get into that flow state, it's really a wonderful feeling, dude. It really is. It's hard to explain, man, but when you get there, man, everything's better. Everything feels better. Everything's effortless, or at least more effortless, right?
Yeah, that's how I feel too. So yeah, hopefully everybody enjoyed it. If you could leave us a review, whether you're listening to this on the Cult of Conspiracy or Meta Mysteries, if you leave 5 stars and review, depending on whatever app you're listening to it, we would really appreciate it. It really helps boost the algorithm and helps get Meta Mysteries out of out of the dark alleys and more onto the highway.
Yeah.
And so we appreciate all the one out there that has been doing that so far. Also, we are on YouTube as well. So if you would like to watch this, as opposed to just listening to it on Spotify or Apple or whatever device you're listening to, you can actually watch it, and you can watch our faces, our guest faces, some of the one that joins us on Wonder Wednesdays. That's a good way if you want to go over there and subscribe and like and hit the bell and all that kind of stuff. We upload those on the same day that we upload them to the Cult of Conspiracy. But if you want the shows a day in advance, then you go to Meta Mysteries platform and listen to it the day that it drops over there, which is a day before it releases on Cult of Conspiracy and YouTube. And if you want it even sooner than that, then you go over to patreon.com/Meta Mysteries, and that link is down in the show notes below. We have several tiers over there. If you're not really too concerned about joining us Wednesday nights, that's totally fine. Not everybody's cup of tea. Maybe you just want to be able to get the shows a couple of days in advance. You want to be able to see all the videos. You want to be able to interact with us, send us messages, and comment on all the videos and everything. Then we have a tier that is $3.33 a month. I mean, dude, that's 8, 9, 10 shows a month sometimes for $3.33. And then, of course, if you want to sign up for the Wonder Wednesday tier, which would give you access to all of that, plus being able to join us for the live shows every Wednesday night, we have the Wonder Wednesday tier there as well, which is $8.88 a month. So we appreciate all the one who have been supporting us in that way. We're also all across TikTok and Instagram. Go give us a little follow over there. Come like some of our videos. I've been putting up some videos that are sometimes it's what we say in the shows, but sometimes I just get a little hair up my ass that I can't wait for Wonder Wednesday, or I can't wait for Monday nights whenever we decide to shoot. I just need to say it right now before I forget it. You never get that feeling?
You got to put it out there, man. Oh yeah, definitely.
You got to put it out there. So yeah, we would appreciate if you guys came and followed us over there as well. But yeah, with all that being said, Sean, any final words before we get to the meditation, sir?
Oh man, as always, for me personally, dude, this was a great episode. I really had a good time going through and understanding even the ancients and just the different ways of looking at things and being able to transmute situations and just a matter of how you look at things, man. Whether the ether is real or not, dude. I mean, you can use it or you not use it. It's up to you, But I feel like this was fun.
It's just
bringing the ether back, man.
Bringing it back. Yeah. It's just a tool, and you can choose to use it. You don't have to use it. It's not evil. It's kind of in the middle. Whatever you choose to do with it, it's the force. It's the.
You don't even have to tell people you're using it. You know what I mean? That's just for you.
That's all for you. So we appreciate you guys joining us tonight, and we're gonna get over to the meditation here in just a moment. But what we like to say first is that if the ether, animism, and nonlinear time came here and taught you anything, it's that you don't know what you don't know. So don't just get weird.
Stay weird.
Open doors inside your mind. Leave the ordinary far behind. Colors swirl and stars align. In the meta mysteries you'll find.
I didn't want to come out of that one.
I know, dude. It was nice. Isn't it interesting? I remember when we were kids, and we were living with you over in Pennsylvania, and I remember the first time I ever really went into the woods because your backyard was so huge, and then you'd walk, and at a certain point, it would just become the woods. That was the first time I ever really experienced that, dude. It was like a whole different world, And then here we are in a guided meditation, going through the woods. Like, I don't know.
Bro, why did I think about those same exact woods in that meditation?
Yeah. It's just because we've experienced that before, and as kids, where things were magical. When she mentioned the tree or the log that had fallen over, it was like when you were a kid and you were in the woods and you saw some shit like that. I don't know. It was just an awesome. Everything was awesome. You could pick up a stick and I don't know, dude. That was great, dude. I don't know if the guide was telling us to put our feet in the stream or not, but I definitely did. And then I was like, because it's like, to me in that moment, I was like, that's like energy. You know what I mean? It's flowing. It's like, let me absorb some of that. And I cupped my hands and picked up some of the water and held it in my hands. And if I was to try to draw or paint or hands holding water, it would be hard for me to really illustrate that, because anytime you're drawing water, it's tricky, because things refract and warps things. But when you imagine in a guided meditation and you're looking at your own hands, and almost it's dreamlike, because you're actually seeing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is,
I don't know. Very detailed.
I mean, I'm not an artist. I suck at drawing, but you're the artist. You're the artist out of the two of us.
I mean, just the simple fact that you can see it that clearly,
Right.
And it comes and goes, I feel like, but just being able to see that in such detail, seeing your hands like being warped a little bit because of the water, or the edges of the water being lit by the sun, or, just little details like that it's just there,
Yeah,
I didn't have to construct it.
No, it's so strange that we both
Like
thought about that one place in those woods behind. Dude, I haven't thought about that place in forever. So that's crazy that we both thought the same thing tonight. But yeah, there's something, man, I just didn't want to get out of that meditation. And to be honest, it kind of took me a couple minutes, and I was like, man, what is going on? And then as soon as I thought about like how it was taking so long, it was almost like my mind was just like, say less. And it just pushed me there. and all of a sudden I'm just like, here I am, baby.
Dude. We're there.
You're there. Yeah. It's man, sometimes just those guided meditations, they really create a visual for you so that you don't have to try to imagine. And that's really what helps a lot. And it's just the power of suggestion whenever you're in some kind of trance that really, man, it's magical big time. And that's why like affirmations are real powerful too. Like some people listen to affirmations like whenever they fall asleep. I am this, I am that, I am this, whatever, right? And so much so that it's like training your subconscious, so that way whenever you wake up, your subconscious is already programmed for the day. And I've never done that because I need one constant sound whenever I fall asleep. I got a big box fan. That's all I want to listen to.
The fan is clutch.
Yeah, dude. But I could definitely see the power in sleeping to those affirmations and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're creating somewhat of your own program rather than just dealing with the one you already have, and so it's like, it's funny. I thought about this, we didn't record on Monday because I had to go to the dentist. I had a broken tooth, right? And for the longest time, it's been broken for a while. And instead of just going and getting it fixed and dealing with it, eventually it got to the point where it was becoming painful. And for a while there, I had to, like, if I drink something cold, when cold water hits a broken tooth or a cavity, it's like, oh, it causes pain like instantly. So for, I don't know how many months, maybe 6 months, dude, this thing's been going on. I've been having to like drink water in a way like where I have to be consciously aware enough to make sure not as much cold water hits that particular tooth. And so I got it taken care of. And so now I'm still doing that, like not thinking about it. I'm still like,
you're programmed,
thinking I can't drink a certain way. I can just drink it normal now. So now I've got to like retrain the program to go back to normal. So yeah, dude, that's how it works, man. It really does.
Yeah, it's just our operating system.
Yeah, you create that reality.
Yeah, and it's like the Matrix. Like, I know Kung Fu. Like, you can just, and maybe it's not as simple as just that, like hooking yourself up to a computer in order to download, but essentially, like your mind is the I don't know computer terms, but essentially it's the memory, right? Obviously, it's the memory, but it's like the memory on your computer.
Yeah. It's not the spoon that bends, it's yourself.
Right. Britt said, what if you believed in your mind that those foods were actually good for you? Would that be like a placebo effect in a sense? So if you're
I've thought about that. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's probably like, isn't that why people pray over their food?
Right. Same thing, right?
Yeah, it's like
I feel like you just have to you'd really have to undo that programming because deep down, Reese's peanut butter cups probably aren't going to give you a 6-pack. I think the accepting part would be really hard.
Not gonna lie, I want to believe that so much that I might go out and get some pizza tonight and just try.
Dude, if no one's looking, dude, it don't even count.
Fuck integrity. But it's like
character.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe there is something to it. And I mean, yeah, I mean, if you pray over water, or if you not necessarily even pray, but just kind of, assume, and maybe even just say like an incantation. I mean, a prayer, incantation, same thing. If you really think about it, it's like if you're praying or spelling over something, you would say like, so let's say for instance, you just have like one slice of pizza, one slice of delicious, greasy, cheesy pepperoni pizza
get in my
just,
mouth.
you're like, I need that right now. Then it's like, and you imagine that this food is going to nourish not only your body in every possibly correct way, but also your soul and your mind. And I bet you I'm not going to say it's exactly how it would work, but it probably helps at least 10%.
Dude, if it's not healthy, at the very least, maybe you don't get heartburn. You know what I mean? Or you digest it better. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, is it just whatever you accept?
I don't know. Dude.
That might be a good practice. I might try that over the course of the week. I was thinking about getting back on keto, but no, let's try this right here, baby. This is actually steak. These donuts are steak, and
it's sustainable.
They are carb free. If I pee on a keto stick, it's still going to say I'm in ketosis.
Dude. Yep. Influence the scale by 15% by thought alone.
Yeah, why not? Britt said you create your own reality, though, right? So maybe pizza or Reese's cups could give you a 6-pack. Tell yourself that you accept the nutrients in it. Tell yourself that you accept the nutrients in it, but expel the toxins.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting, actually.
Probably something to it, because I mean, you think about it, like the people going all the way back. I mean, there wasn't always animals that you can kill each day. So at that point, it's almost like my favorite movie of all time, which is Hook, and it's like, you got to imagine your food being there. And before you know it, you got a cup of sherbet on your spoon, or what. I'm not saying to not eat, but like maybe the opposite way around, to where you imagine that, those Krispy Kremes are, like potatoes or something.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, well, I mean, this is a very physical thing. You're eating bad food, but I mean, people do that with, you mentioned it earlier in the episode, as far as people, the relationship that people have with their birthdays. Some people don't even acknowledge that it's their birthday, because in their mind they know they're creating that reality that they're another year older, and so it's like not accepting that and letting age not even be a factor. It's like, in a sense, I think that works. And that's also a very physical aspect.
Dude, I remember my mom was 29 for 10 years. Right. Like, she kept on saying that. Yeah. I was like, how old are you again? And she was 29. I was like, for like my whole childhood. Yeah. But anyway, all right. Well, one more thing, and we'll announce it on Patreon and everywhere else too. But the next live show, and Britt said, and that actually ages people when they think they are another year older.
Yeah,
100%.
Exactly. Yeah, because then you start looking for evidence of that. You're like, yeah, my back is kind of a little more stiff than it used to be.
Dude, whenever I turned 30, I started grunting when I get up. It's
right?
Like,
yeah. What is that sound?
Fuck,
it's just automatic now. I think it helps, though. I do.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But yeah, I did want to say that the next live show is not going to be Wednesday next week. It's going to be Monday night. So Meta Monday instead of Wonder Wednesday, we'll say.
There it is. That works.
And so we're going to get live. We're also, I'm not going to say what name, but we are going to get a psychic on the show.
Yes.
And there could be some kind of reading. Maybe somebody's going to get called out.
Oh,
we'll see where it goes. Maybe there's a spirit lurking around that has a message. We don't know. You don't want to ballpark these things.
Right.
But
who knows?
But they're always the most fun.
Oh,
so we're gonna try and get whoever they may be on this show, and usually always down. So always look forward to those ones. But yeah, like I said, we'll announce it on Patreon and everywhere else for anybody that wants to be able to join on that. And those are always bangers, dude.
Absolutely. So, looking forward to it.
Yeah. So I guess anyhow, until next time, we'll see y'all on the flip side.
I guess.
Voices drift on winds untamed, words like spells that can't be named. Close your eyes and feel